Hi guys. Today's going to be a little bit of a different day. Mr. Brown's on a fishing tournament this morning. He left out really early this morning. In fact, I don't even remember him leaving. It was so early. I was so tired last night. I guess I didn't even hear him leave. But this video is going to be a little bit different today. We're not going to be outside on the homestead today doing anything. I'm not going to be doing any cooking today because I'm going to my youngest son's house to a shrimp boil. I'm really excited about that. So, because I know it's going to be good. What I'm going to do today is, a while back, I was able to take a little time and go to a few flea markets, which is probably my number one favorite thing to do besides spending time with my grandkids. And anytime I go to a flea market, the first thing I make a beeline to is always the books. Because you never know what you're going to find back there. And I found some really good treasures, I think. But it's anywhere from cookbooks to gardening. And in fact, one of my books, I don't even know why anybody want to get rid of it. But it's my favorite country gal, which is Loretta Lynn, and it's her cookbook. It's called You're Cooking It Country with Loretta Lynn, and I just couldn't believe it. And I only give $3.50 for it. But not only does she have some of her recipes in here, but it's got stories with it, and I just love it. And I've got all kinds that I want to share with you. And I know a lot of y'all love doing the same thing. I quit buying so many brand new cookbooks because I had so many, and it's, you can only do so many recipes. Now, I have recently purchased Miss Katie's cookbook, so from Heritage Ways. She's got a cookbook out, and I'm really excited to get that in the mail. But usually when I go to flea markets, I look for the older cookbooks that you just don't see anymore. And some of them are just about to fall apart. But I just love them. I love looking through them because I've got an old soul. I was born in the wrong century, I guess. But anyways, I want to share my books with you that I found and read you a few stories out of some of them. So stick around and we'll look through them. I don't know how many of y'all love Loretta Lynn as much as me and Mr. Brown do, but there's never been anybody like her, never will be, as far as we're concerned. But I just thought this was a treasure for me when I found it, especially for $3.50. But it has a picture of Loretta on when she was young. She's sitting at the table snapping green beans. How original is that? That's great. She grew up poor. She was a country girl through and through. And could sing. But the recipes in here are some of hers and some of her mama's. And, it's very simple. There's nothing, too fancy about this cookbook. It's got a few stories. And I may even read one to you about her mama. It'll take just a few minutes, but I think I will. But anyways, here's a recipe for cat head biscuits. And, I made cat head biscuits for my kids all the time when they were at home because they were just so easy to make. And it just calls for 2 cups of self-rising flour, a cup of shortening, and 3/4 cup of buttermilk. And you just stir that up, heat your oven to 400, and you just, spoon you some dough and just kind of spoon it on your pan, your greased pan, and it's about that simple. And they just come out big old, round, uneven biscuits, but that's why they call them cat head biscuits, because they say, I guess back in the day, they thought they looked like a cat head. I don't know. Big as cat head. She's got country sausage gravy, Ozark Mountain breakfast, hash brown casserole, she's got, this is the one I want to read you. And this is a picture of her mama right here. But I just want to read you a minute what she puts in here about her mama. It's because she always called her mommy. No matter how old Loretta was, she always called her mom mommy. It said when mommy cooked, she always baked cornbread or biscuits. Always biscuits in the morning. Mommy had to get up at 4 o'clock. I would always wake up when she got up. I would lay there in bed because us kids would go back to sleep. I would know I was going to have to get up and go to school. Mommy would get up and put coffee on for Daddy. Then she would make gravy. Mommy was a good cook, but she didn't have much to work with. She taught me everything I know. She always taught me about what she was cooking, but it didn't blossom out to fancy dishes. But she knew how to cook them beans and fry them taters and gravy. And eggs. We had eggs. Mommy would always keep a few chickens for eggs, but we didn't have a whole lot. Mommy worked on an old coal stove, but it was cool. She had a place where she put her flour in her meal. She had to have potatoes for fried potatoes and cornbread. She always needed beans. All summer long, she would can. She would put up her whole garden, trying to save for the winter time. She'd put potatoes and cabbage heads and stuff into the ground. Then she'd have me covered up with straw. Then I'd put dirt on top of that. It seemed like she would work all summer long, but it would get pretty lean as spring started coming around. Somehow, she always had hog meat to go into the beans. Daddy would kill a hog for Christmas and he'd salt down the meat. I'd keep running out barefooted while Daddy was scraping the hog. He'd catch me out there and run me back to the house. After Daddy cut the hog meat, Mommy would fry it up and make gravy with the scrap. She always kept the hog meat skin so she could throw that into the beans if she didn't have any more pork left. So then biscuits, the gravy, the hog meat, and jam is what you got. She'd kill a chicken every now and then, and we'd have fried chicken. But that was maybe once a month. Us kids would think we were in heaven when we got fried chicken, because we ate beans and taters about every day. It was rough in the hills of Kentucky, but it was good old days when things were bad. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it'll take me for a while, but isn't that the sweetest story? I mean, and that's the story of a lot of us. But you just couldn't eat any better. But I'm just going to go through here. She's got recipe for hominy grits, Kentucky frog legs, chicken and dumplings. I mean, I really treasure this book. And there's pictures of her and Dude. Just several different pictures of her and the kids and when she was signing autographs and stuff. But I love this book. I'm glad I found it. Well, this was a really good find. This is the Herb Bible, and the copyright is for 1994. But, excuse me, this was sold at Barnes & Noble books back then for $15. I got it, it says $8 in here, but I got it for $3.95. And I thought it was a wonderful find, the Herb Bible, because I have looked through here and I have learned so much through this book about all the different herbs. I mean, it's got every herb in here that some of them, most of them, I tell you, a lot of them I have never even heard of. So I'm learning a lot from this book. So this was a really treasure to find, and it has taught me so much about all the different herbs and everything about them. So that was a wonderful find for the price, especially. This book here, I just love it. It's Country Living Seasons at Seven Gates Farm. It's a story with beautiful pictures in it about a man that bought a farm and just turned it into this beautiful, beautiful place. Seven Gates Farm. But I give $3.95 for this book. And I can sit and look at this book every day probably because I love the story with it and I love the pictures. Just love them. I mean, everything in this book is who I am and what I'm about when it comes to gardening and the love of flowers and the potager gardens, the cottage gardens. I just love them. And now that I'm older and can't take care of truck patch anymore, I've turned to a potager garden, and I'm telling you, as time goes on here at the new homestead, it's coming together little by little, but I just love it. I just love the whole concept of growing so many beautiful flowers and herbs and vegetables all together in one place, and it not just being a garden, but a beautiful place to be in, with it being so decorated, and I just love it. So anyways, I love this book for $3.95. It's called Seasons, Country Living Seasons at Seven Gates Farm. This right here was a real treasure. My problem with this book, you can tell that people through the years, they tried to, it was falling apart, so they tried to bind it here at the, but I cannot find a date for this book. It's Betty Crocker's Picture Cookbook. And this thing is old now. Everything in here is in black and white. You can see some of the pages are falling out. And the dividers, they've turned yellow. But every picture in here is in black and white. And some of the recipes in here I've never even heard of. That's why it's so unique. But if anybody has a clue or can do any research, because I sure haven't found out anything yet, on how old this book may be, I would like to find out. There's no page in this book or even on the insides that tell the date of this book. But it's Betty Crocker's Picture Cookbook. You see how it looks on the front. So if y'all can find out anything, let me know, because I really treasure this cookbook a lot. And this is I mean, I don't know how many people would know who this even is. This is Crocketts Victory Garden. And some of the older people generation would know. He was on PBS for several years. He had the prettiest, most bountiful garden. He was such a good gardener, and he could explain things, and it just was a joy to watch, because I've even went back on YouTube and found some of his videos. They're older videos. They're not the new generation. It's the older videos. But he was a very good gardener, and this book has got a lot of good information in it. And I give $4 for it. Crocketts Victory Garden. This book here, I just love this book. And I have not gotten time to sit down and read all the stories, and I'm so excited. I'm going to sit down this weekend and start reading through it, hopefully, if I get time. But it's called Tough Times, Strong Women. It's a heartfelt tribute and personal memories and photos to the unsung heroes who helped our families and our country together through the good times and the bad times. I give $1.50 for it. And it's in really good shape. I'm just going to turn to a page or two. This right here, I mean, look at this. This lady is in her washroom with her washboard, and you can tell she's just wore out washing them clothes. But there's so many good stories. I know, just looking, I can't wait to sit down and really go through this. And I think I'll share some of these stories through y'all through some of my videos. There's a story here, a little bitty story I'm going to read to you because it's so sweet. It says, Grandma fed the hungry in her own way. My grandmother lived with us through most of the 1950s. She was a woman of few words, but she taught me much about caring for those who were less fortunate. Once a week she'd make lemon meringue pie, banana cream, and chocolate pies, and set them on the kitchen windowsill to cool. The pies would disappear over the course of the afternoon. Later we'd find empty pie plates on the sill. The first time I spotted a tattered, unshaven man returning an empty plate. I asked Grandma why she let them bums eat her pies. And she said, because they're hungry. Isn't that sweet? And it has a picture of the grandmas and the mamas. But yeah, I'll be sharing some of these stories with you because I just love it. Tough times, strong women. $1.50 is what I give for it. This one right here is called Fields of Greens. It's new vegetarian recipes from the celebrated Greens restaurant. And I went ahead and I picked this one up because I looked through it and it's got some really great vegetarian recipes in it. And me and Mr. Brown love our vegetables, but I think I'm going to start doing some videos on nothing but vegetarian recipes, especially with gardening and all that coming up. So I give $2 for this book, Fields of Greens. It's a really nice book. And here's another gardening book I found. I give $3 for it. It's Better Homes and Gardens Complete Guide to Gardening. And you can tell by the pictures how old this book is. Let's see. The copyright was 1979, so I don't know. But it's got some good, really interesting things in here. A lot of things to read and learn up on your plants and different things. So that was another good buy on my gardening book. And that thing's heavy. This right here is another Betty Crocker's Do It Ahead cookbook, from the freezer to the refrigerator. And that's what's interesting about this little book. And it's an older book. Let me see. The copyright on it was 1972. What this is, it has recipes in it. Some of them I've never even heard of. But it'll have a recipe, and then it tells you how to freeze it. So, that's really neat. Like here, this is a recipe for chili ham spread. And it calls for 1 can of deviled ham, 1 tablespoon of salad dressing, a teaspoon of onion juice, 1 teaspoon of minced chili peppers, and green olive slices. I have never in my life heard such thing. But, I mean, that's some of the recipes that's in here. But it's just but it does have good recipes too. It's just a unique old book. So I love that one too. I want to share this one with you because it's so sweet. This is one of the original Winnie the Pooh books. And it came out of the library because it's got the library type on it. But it starts from the story of Christopher Robin and goes all the way from him, him and Pooh, him finding Pooh and rescuing him out of the hot, it's just a sweet, sweet book. But my grandkids have to have colored pictures to look at. So when Nana's reading this book, they kind of get bored with it. But I love this little Winnie the Pooh book, and I'll pass it down to them if anybody wants it. It's a real treasure, though. This book here was given to me by my cousin in Texas, and there's a fly in here. It's called Garden Gimmicks, and it's an old book. I think it's 1953. Yeah, 1953. And it come out of Emory, Texas. So this little book means a lot to me because that's where my family lives, around Emory, Texas. And it's just got all kinds of garden gimmicks in it. So that's a special little book. I found this book for 75 cents. It's called Cooking with Country Oaks. And Country Oaks was I guess a bed and breakfast. and it's from Carol and Jerry Weber, the innkeepers of Country Oaks. And there's several good little recipes in here. And what I liked about it is she had written some of her own recipes down and left them in this book. And I love finding stuff like that. And this book right here is called Posh Pancakes and Fancy Fritters. Really, there's nothing fancy in here, but it's got a lot of good recipes in here for fritters and different kinds of pancakes that you never thought of. Here's one for, it's called Blue Corn Cakes. And it says blue corn has a distinctive nut-like taste. And here they're making kind of like whole cakes out of it, but they're using blue corn. Now me and Mr. Brown eat blue corn tortilla chips, the organic, and they're really good. They do have a nutty taste. But there's a lot of good little sweet recipes in this book. And I give $1 for it. So that's the books I found here lately. And I want to show you, I found this pretty little tin. And I love tins that look old-fashioned like this. Kind of looks, I don't know, Victorian or something. But I love getting them, and I'll probably start maybe throwing some of my recipe cards in here that I use quite a bit off and on, and I'll keep it in it. So, that was my find at the flea market. And I know most of you men probably didn't. This wasn't your cup of tea on videos, but I just want to share my flea market finds and the books that I just love. So, I hope y'all enjoyed it, but that's what I do. I love flea markets, and I love looking at their books because you can just find so many very interesting books, because a lot of people don't realize what they're getting rid of. And a lot of these people that have stuff at flea markets, they go to these estate sales that have boxes and boxes of books, and people really don't know what all's in there, and there can be some real treasures in there. So always go back to the books section of your flea market, because you'll find some good stuff. I want to end this video with, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you do, give me a thumbs up. But I just want to end this video with thanking so many people, because I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers, and I know that seems like, little to a lot of people, but it's a lot when you've struggled and you try to get there on your own. So, it's very, it touches your heart when, you have that many people out there that care and that are interested, and most of these people they're my friends. I have met so many wonderful people through YouTube, I can't tell you. And, even when you meet people and they come to your home, you know that it's personal, that it gets personal then. And I can tell you that when Miss Vicky got on that plane and came to Arkansas and came to my home and stayed with me, how many people would do that? So what that tells you is how much she cared. And I'll carry that with me the rest of my life. So Miss Katie from Heritage Ways, she come to our little get-together in Pocahontas. And she come to my home. She traveled and came to my home. And she made it all the way back to my hill up here, and I just couldn't believe it. And it was just, it humbled me how these people would come all this way to see me, and made me feel good. But I have met so many friends. Adele from Australia. She was one of my biggest supporters when I started my YouTube channel. and now she's become my sister. She sent me a necklace. I wear this necklace. I never take it off. I never take this necklace off. I know one of these days it's going to break or something, but so far it's been around my neck and hasn't been off since. There's just so many people that I've met, and so many people that we get together and we pray together. We pray for, the world. We pray for each other. We pray for other YouTubers. And it's just a great community. And I just can't put to words what it means to all of us and what it means to me. So I just want to tell everybody I love y'all, and I thank all y'all for supporting me. And there's a lot of good things to come. We all know that life's busy, and it's just hard sometimes when you're just rushed around, and to grab that camera up and, try to video every day, it just can't be done, especially when you're working a full-time job away from the homestead. But then you get thinking, oh, I've got to do a video. So sometimes you just have to sit down, gather your thoughts, and sometimes just do a video like this. So never be discouraged, other YouTubers. Never be discouraged, because what I think what's coming to is just real life. People want to see real life, real things, and real life's not perfect all the time. But with that being said, I love you guys. Thank y'all for your support, and I've got some more sourdough recipes coming up. Sourdough brownies, sourdough tortillas, all kinds of stuff, and everything in between that too. So y'all come back and see me, and I'm sorry this video was too long, but it is what it is. Love you guys. See you later.